Hey everyone, GMAX raids have just come to an end for me anyways in my time zone, and it was the Kanto starters again, which was nice because Niantic brought them back. Now, I want to talk about just the overall GMAX and DMAX feature, and my opinion on it, as well as how it can improve, what it's not doing great on right now, and why the majority of the communities that I've been part of just aren't as interested in it. So, let's just start with how the weekend went. So, I managed to do two raids to begin with. Only two raids because, well, I'm a player that spends a lot of money on this game. I'm not going to hide that. But for this feature, you need a lot of people. And if you want to do more than two, which is the free-to-play version, you need other people to be able to spend money on it as well. And it's not cheap. It's around like 1.5 raids worth, 1.5 legendary raids worth for one GMAX raid, which in itself doesn't seem like all too unreasonable because, like, you know, a remote raid is more expensive than that. But at the same time, this feature is too expensive. Right now, it is very, very expensive. As you can tell, a lot of people failed the catches. I failed one of my catches, which sucks because I didn't get a Blastoise. I had to get it traded to me. So, one, the catch rates are ridiculous for something that you have to get a lot of people for. It's a bit silly. And your option of getting more balls is still really expensive. 200 coins is one remote raid pass just for extra rewards. Don't get me wrong, the rewards are fantastic, but it just adds on to the fact of just like the difference between free to play and paid. It just gets so expensive. And even for a paid player like me, for example, the GMAX Kingler raid day, it's so expensive. It gets ridiculously expensive at times. And at that point, I'm just kind of like, is it worth it? Is it worth it just for the rewards? Is it worth it for the Kinglers? Like 90% of the Kinglers I'm not going to use and just keep one. So let's just talk about GMAX to begin with, where I've talked to a lot of people in the community, and the people that aren't interested in it are people that prefer to do raids, just regular raids, the real Pokemon Go raids, which some people say are like the core to the game, if you know what I mean. But pardon me. But if you look at it and you think about it, these Pokemon, this feature is just very small, it's very limited, right? Where you can use your Rayquazas, you can use your Lucario, Mega Lucario, your Groudons, Kyogres, you can use those in PvP, PvE, and you can use them in raids. They get a universally like added feature, so all of them can use it. But for Dynamax and Gigantamax, these Pokemon can only be used as those. You can't Dynamax them in any other place except for a Dynamax battle, which is a bit silly because if you end up investing a lot of Stardust into, I don't know, a GMAX Charizard, you can't use that in anything else. Like, realistically, if you're in a smaller community and you can't do GMAX raids, leveling up, I don't know, like a 0-star GMAX Charizard isn't going to do you any good because at the end of the day, you're just going to be going up against Beldums and Machops and Darumacas and maybe an occasional bird for a duo, which you have to max mushroom for. Max mushrooms, that's a whole different can of worms. I'll open that later. Although I don't really want to, because that's just such a really expensive thing. But yeah, it feels very limited. So what I would change about that is that I don't know how they would be able to do it. Maybe it'll be some sort of like Mega Evolution. Or maybe if you do enough attacks in a fight, they can Gigantamax something like that. I don't know how they'll do it. But Niantic should really implement a way of using a Dynamax Pokemon or a Gigantamax Pokemon in a regular raid as the Gigantamax or Dynamax forms. And also, a little side note, I would love to have an option to have your Dynamax Pokemon Dynamaxed as your buddy, if you get what I mean. Because I'd love to have a shiny Gigantamax Kingler as my buddy, but it just comes across as a regular Kingler, so it just looks kind of lame in my opinion. But as you know, if you Mega Evolve your buddy, then your buddy becomes the Mega Pokemon. I would love that for the Gigantamax or Dynamax Pokemon. That would be pretty cool. But let's talk about Dynamax. Dynamax is different from Gigantamax, where you can only have 4 people. And implementing these legendary raids with 4 people, it's a bit strange because Niantic have really set themselves up for failure here, where in big communities, for example, I try to get a raid done in a big community, and it ended up being an absolute nightmare because the whole feature relies on coordination. You rely on healers, you rely on shields, and you rely on attacking. That part I love. I love the coordination, I love the strategy. I just really like the new depth to fighting in Pokemon Go with these Dynamax raids. But the issue is, there's no private lobby feature, so we ended up just we had to wait for everyone else to get in a lobby, and still we'd have people flood in, like most likely spoofers that spoof to our area just to get into these Dynamax raids. It kind of ruins the feature. I would like a private group. I feel like that will be added pretty soon as like a quality of life feature. I'd like to hope so anyways, because, well, that should be a pretty essential thing to be adding. But you know what? I'm not going to push Niantic to do that, but I really feel like it should be added pretty soon. So, Dynamax as a whole, they look great. Like, don't get me wrong, they look visibly amazing, right? But overall, if I'm just like looking at what people are interested in my community, it is very much a low interest. People are not going to come out to do 2 raids. People are not going to come out just to do 1 battle. The fact is, I really feel like they should increase the max particle storage. Now, yes, that is encouraging more investment into the game. That is encouraging more people to buy poker coins. But at the end of the day, Niantic make their money and we get more enjoyment, if you get what I mean. 800 max particles is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount. Even for the GMAX and so the Dynamax legendaries and the GMAX any raid are the same cost. It's just really weird. It's just kind of strange how these transfer over. But overall, this feature just needs like a massive overhaul for it to be like a full addition to the game. Because right now, I kind of feel like it's still in some sort of beta where there are so many flaws, it doesn't feel like it's been fully implemented into the game properly yet. And the shiny rates aren't exactly clear. During wild area, there are a lot of people that just didn't get shiny toxicity. I don't know what the odds were for the GMAX shinies. I think it's like 1 in 20 now during the raid days. I think it's 1 in 64 maybe. I'm not sure. We had some people getting it on our group, but our group had like 50 to 60 people, so that's not a great like pool of people to get it sorted. But overall, I do want cross-compatibility for those sorts of raids. So we've gone through that. Let's talk about max mushrooms for a second. I know I just got to get it out the way. Max mushrooms are a silly item. I got to say it. They're ridiculous. Paying 200 coins. Is it 200 or is it 400? I'm pretty sure it's... I'm going to have to double check. But the price is irrelevant. The price is still ridiculous for whatever it is. Max mushroom price. Max mushrooms are a whopping 400 coins? I thought they were 200. Sorry, okay. My reaction says it all. 400 coins for a 30-minute item. What? That is insane. I like the idea of a max mushroom, so it makes it easier to fight. 400 coins? That is £4. $4. For a 30-minute thing where majority of these raids, right? I ended up using a max mushroom to try and duo Moltres, which I've put a video up about it. It was really fun to do, but having to reset, trying to get like the moves to get the right moves and moveset to sort out was such a pain. I ended up not getting any value from it. I almost, like literally, I ended up only being able to do 1 max fight with the mushroom, and that was it. I really feel like this max mushroom thing is just such a silly price. 400 coins. Really? Are we serious? Yeah, that's insane to me. That is insane to me. Now, I do have some comments I want to make about next weekend, where they're going to be implementing some sort of like raid weekend for Raikou, which is going to be interesting, which means you can collect 1,600 per day, and you can do 800. So that means if you collect your max the day before and then do your 1,600 on the next day, that means you'll be able to do 3 raids on day 1 and 2 raids the next day. So 5 raids free to play. Not bad at all, right? I think that's pretty decent for a feature that is like equivalent to a raiding, like a legendary raid encounter. It's pretty decent. As for that, by the way, use your Excadrills. I'm not going to make a counter video for that, I don't think. If I do, it'll be because I'm running out of video ideas for this week. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that event. I will be personally kind of doing it on the side. I'm not going to go out of my way to do them since I've already got Toxtricity, and that one's just way better than Raikou. Would be nice to get a shiny though. But overall, Dynamax, Gigantamax, they need to be fixed. They need to be changed. They need to be adapted. It's right now, they're too expensive, they're inaccessible for rural players. Oh my goodness, I forgot to talk about rural players. I'm so sorry. Rural players, I want to know your opinions in the comments. If you're a rural player, let me know in the comments. Let me know what this feature is like for you, if you've even bothered with the feature. I get DMAX raids are probably like pretty decent, but realistically, what are you getting out of them? They don't really feel catered towards that sort of audience, I'll be honest. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see how they've implemented it, but I would love some sort of remote feature. I'm pretty sure it's going to come in the future. We've got remote shadow raids added for that Shadow Hobo weekend. We'll probably get them re-added for the next Shadow Raid Day, which I believe is in May, which will be really fun. But yeah, I really feel like that they've just missed the mark with these new features, but I can definitely see them improving in the future if they listen to our feedback. Now, historically, Niantic have been very on and off with our feedback, so we'll have to see how that goes. I personally don't expect anything amazing to come out of it, but you know what? I would love to be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, but make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.